Hi, you. Welcome back to Intuitive Art Sales. This is the show where I, Jessica Craddock, am going to teach you how to source your art marketing from within. For the next little bit, I want to switch gears and share something with you called the Artist Success Interview Series. This series is a little bit different than what we've been doing because instead of me sharing my thoughts, my opinions, my advice, I'm going to flip the tables and help artists who have had success selling their art share with you what they think has been the biggest catalyst for them and their success. I'm going to be asking them about practical tips, mindset tips, and just whatever it is that they want to share with you to help you sell more art. So with that, let's get into it. I am here with Saskia Saunders for the Artist Success Interview Series. And if you haven't been following along, the point of this series is to help you believe that it is completely possible to make money selling your art without wearing yourself to a frazzle. And Saskia is a great example of that, about balancing her time and energy and making sure she has plenty of space for her children and her mental health and everything. So I'm excited to bring her here today. She is a weaver. She does these beautiful, you can see behind her, elegant, simplistic, minimalist weavings. If you are not following her on Instagram already, you should be, and I'll give you that handle at the end. Actually, let's just throw it in right now because we're here. It's at Saskia, Saskia _ Saunders, Saunde. Hi, how are you?
Hi, thank you for having me today. It's fantastic to speak to you.
I'm so glad you are. I want to thank you on behalf of everyone who always emails me after I put these things out and says, that was so useful. That is all going to you. So just go ahead and accept that energy pre-release.
Yeah.
So Saskia, I asked before we got on the phone if you were willing to talk about some numbers, and you said yes. So I'm going to let you just do that in your own way, shape, form, however you want to do that. We'll start there, and then I will ask you 3 questions about what you have done to be able to get to where you are, and then we'll wrap up.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I guess I'd just like to talk about my work, and that I work with high-end clients who are looking for really bespoke, elegant, beautiful pieces of work. I'm looking to make quality pieces over quantity, and that for my way of working as a weaver, because it's quite a time-consuming process. It also suits my attention to detail and wanting to make really quality pieces. And just suits my lifestyle as well, to get, as you've already mentioned, to get balance around the fact that I have a young family. I don't want to be burning the candle at 10 million ends. I want to also have a lot of energy to bring to my work. I don't want to be resenting it for taking all my time and space up. So I want to feel like this lovely sense of balance. The last piece I sold was currently a small piece in my range, and that was for about £4,700. That is then moving up to my medium and large scale pieces for commissions at the minute, which are in the range of £7,500 to £12,500. So to put that in perspective, about 18 months ago, I was selling for 1/10 of that price. So I've been able to massively jumpstart and grow my business, and it just incredibly freed up that energy and that space that I've had to then create, because I'm not frantically running around trying to sell 10 pieces of work when I can sell one. And it's 10 times the difference in that space of time. Yeah. So,
and I remember we had talked about at one point long ago, you were selling on Etsy and you're feeling frazzled and selling quite well. But when we went back and looked at the numbers, it wasn't nearly worth it compared to just being able to sell that one piece for a higher price point. Is that a good summary of what we discussed?
Absolutely. At one point, when I had a little confidence dip recently, I remembered when I used to sell really frequently weavings on Etsy, and I thought, I used to do it without a lot of marketing. I didn't have a website or anything at that point, and I felt like I wasn't putting anything energy in, yet people were finding me. But when you challenged me to actually, and I thought, am I doing the right things at the minute, or should I perhaps go back to that model of working? But when you challenged me to go back and look at what I was selling, how often and how many and what price, I can believe the kind of small numbers that I was selling my work for. And obviously it served a time and a purpose and what I was doing then. And it was just a creative exploration. But I was selling pieces for anything from £35 up. And now, as I said, I don't sell work less than the thousands now. So it's a ridiculously big leap, and it's been totally worth it. Yeah, it's been a huge shift from working in the terms of the model that I had before with Etsy. Obviously, it was great for a certain time, but there was no sense of connection there. It was selling small pieces left, right, and center, constantly running to the post office, not knowing what was happening, kind of no direction, to now deep and really personal connections with clients, slowing that pace down, making really high quality work. I don't worry. I used to send work off and panic that when it got to them that they would be disappointed because I just didn't know where I'd put the quality in. I didn't know that it would just get there and just be a letdown. Now, I do not ever doubt that. I know that the work has had all that time and effort gone into it. The price reflects that. And so in terms of kind of an energy exchange, the client gets something amazing and I get an amazing experience of making it and sending it to them. So it's just a huge shift, not only in terms of money, like the money is a part of it, but it's just a whole different ball game of the way of working.
I love that so much. And I think that leads very beautifully into the next question, which is, what was the single biggest mindset shift that it took you to be able to go from selling those pieces for £35 to selling pieces for £5,000 to £12,000? Because I know that there's a big mindset shift there.
Absolutely. I was thinking about it earlier, and I realized for me personally that I think probably the biggest mindset shift has been that there's no magic secret to success, that it's all been about believing in myself and my work and knowing that I am worthy of it and my clients are worthy of it and my art is worthy of the experience. So I think when I first came to you and started working with you, I was looking for an answer. I was looking for you to tell me if I ticked X, Y, and Z boxes, I would be a grade artist and I'd get there. And that was just my personality type. But I just realized I have to trust in myself. I have to genuinely feel that it's all worthy of it. So that for me has been the biggest shift.
It takes a lot of work. I mean, going from thinking I am only worthy of selling here to selling here, it takes a lot of bravery. It takes a lot of steps. It takes a lot of putting trust in yourself. And you have obviously done that. So I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. And I think you're right. Like, it's the steps, isn't it? It's not if you do one thing, but it's all that process. And it's the lovely thing is that it radiates up. So as you say, it's a personal growth thing. So it's had an impact on my life, not just my art. Like, this is a lifestyle thing. I've had benefits that I've seen in my personal life as well as my art, and it all connects because I'm not just an artist on one hand and a mummy and a wife and a friend on the other. Like, everything has to interlink, like everything has to give each other the energy and feeling more. You've got to feel worthy in all of those places, and that all comes together. So it's all had a positive impact in that way.
And I love what you just said about how the energy has to feed each other, because when you can put together, I am Saskia, wife, mother, friend, all of these things together with I am an artist, it makes this so much more powerful than I am just an artist, because no one is just one thing. Everyone is a mix, and your thoughts and your beliefs and your values and everything all comes into that bigger picture. And when you can be more whole, it all starts to work better. Okay, so next question, Saskia. What is the single biggest action step that has allowed you to grow to this place of more spaciousness, more confidence, higher income?
I think for me, the biggest action step is almost a unaction step. For me, it's been releasing expectations on any action I take, because previously, I would think, okay, if I write this post, a piece might sell. If I contact this person, they might commission me. If I do X, Y, and Z, such and such will happen. And the problem with that is that it placed all this enormous pressure on everything I did all the time. And it meant I was stuck in my head. And to be honest, it drove me to not do things because I procrastinate and I think, oh, they won't buy it. So there's no point in emailing them, or that client is too high above me, or they won't pay that price. So I'm not going to try it because I'm too scared, or what would they say? And they're going to reject me. And once I really put into practice to just do the things, to take the steps, and maybe things will happen, and maybe they won't. You always say, like, something will happen. If you're doing good actions and they're coming from the right place and they're in the right energy and they're positive and they're genuine and they're just true to you, then something good's going to happen from it. So it was all my attention, my energy was out there wondering what all those people were thinking and saying and going to do because of me. And actually you had to draw it all back in and go, I'm doing this. I make this art. I love it. I'm excited by it. And if I put it out there and put it in front of the right people, things will happen eventually. And they do. That's then move all that pressure out of my head. That's why I have to constantly remind myself to do this. This isn't, oh, I've done it and I've magically fixed it. But I know that's there now. And perhaps I know that's my tendency. But then I know when I'm getting caught up there, that's something I have to release and step back. So that's been my biggest step in terms of one specific thing. Can I say one other thing?
Please.
It's the macro is working with you. The biggest step is working with you. Like it's changed everything. Like it's jumped me years ahead of where I don't know where I could have ever been. It just genuinely, everything is just, as I said at the beginning, I came to you looking for an answer and I didn't know that you almost turn it back on me to trust and guide myself. So working with you means that that's how I've got where I am. Just, been amazing.
No, I'm speechless. My favorite thing about what you said was you just took all that energy that you had given to all of those other people and you claimed it back. And I don't think I have ever said it in those words. And that was beautiful. And I love that so much. I'm going to steal that. Thank you.
I've stolen it from someone else, I'm sure. But yeah.
I read something similar somewhere, but I hadn't thought about it in this context. That's so perfect because I have told my Create Art Sales group multiple times recently, the number one thing that's going to keep you stuck is wondering what they're going to think when you do that step. Because if you are concentrating on what they're going to think, it just goes zoom, zoom, zoom into a million different directions and it just leaves you paralyzed. But when you can think about, I am coming from this place where I am excited, I am genuine, I am kind, I am loving, I am whatever I am. And I'm just going to show you who I am. It makes all the difference. My last question, is there anything that you would like to share apart from what you have already shared about how you've been able to claim your energy back?
Absolutely. It's like a million things. But I think when you phrased it to me before, it was about, is there anything you would say to somebody that if they weren't sure how...
If they weren't sure. Yeah,
they could do it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was going to say is it doesn't matter if you don't know whether you're ready to take that step. You're never going to feel ready. It matters if you want to. So even if it's like a tiny little niggling feeling of just there's more for me out there, or I just feel like whatever it is, like my art would be seen better in more places, or I want to connect, or just I want to have a bigger income because it will support my family, or that I can then be more generous of my time or my money myself. But it doesn't matter what it is. It's just if you've got that feeling inside you, like that's the biggest indicator that you can make it work, is that wanting to do it. And even if I still feel like I have to go for a long journey with that, because I had that feeling of wanting to, but I still, as I said at the beginning, I still wanted an answer that would tell me, oh, and then if you do this, then you'll be fine. And it wasn't that. Like it took years and lots more digging and lots more unraveling all the kind of beliefs and things that I got stuck in before. I still want to, and I've never ever given up. And I've had some really good periods and then really low periods and really like confidence dips and then ups and this, and it's a real roller coaster. I've never stopped wanting it, and I've never stopped wanting this life to be real, to think that I can make art and that can be my business and that can be how I grow for the rest of my life. That's incredible. That's, to me, is like the ultimate freedom, that I can genuinely, my job is to go out and walk in the woodlands around me, get inspired by what I see, bring that back to my studio, translate it into incredible weavings, then connect with people that love it and they buy my work, and then I can make more of it, and I have time for my children, I have time for my family. Like every layer that I kind of like grow a little bit more, it just makes me want more and more of that. So it doesn't matter where you start, just keep expanding that out. So.
You have to want it, and you have to really truly deeply want it, not want it because someone else told you that you need to want it or you should want it or that's what you should do. You should sell your art. If there is a should in there, it's not strong enough. It has to be deeper. And all these things that you were talking about, yeah, money was in there, but it wasn't so much about the money. It was about what the money afforded you to be able to do, walking around in the woods, making more of that art, spending more time with your family. And those values are going to really help you anchor into that want and desire. Then when you have to take some little scary, uncomfortable, what are they going to think type steps, you can go, it's worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm there with my business as well. Like mine is, I want spaciousness in my life. I want to be supported. I want to be loved. And by me being able to make money for my family so I could spend time with them, so I can have all those beautiful little moments of walking through a field or whatever it is, that's what it's really about. If that's the feeling you've got, just get started, because the longer you wait, the longer it's going to be until you start to get those results in. And the results help with the confidence to do some more. Like Saskia was saying earlier, it's not something that just goes away. It gets easier and you're able to notice it more. If you start now, just think how much further you'll be in 5 or 6 months than you would be if you wait 5 or 6 months and then start.
Yeah. And I think that's when I remember when I first started working with you, that you were the first person that was, you don't have to do X, Y, and Z to make a successful business, that you can be any type of person and you can have any type of business, and that you can sell any kind of art and you can do anything because you could shape that. And that, trying to explain it in some way, but there was just no specific format that my business had to be. Just because I had young children doesn't mean I couldn't make it work. Like I can figure out ways that I can build it and make my work patterns work around them. When I first came to you, you were the first person that was saying that I could build a business that worked for me in the way that I wanted my life to be, that being more successful wasn't necessarily working more, that it wasn't, I had to do all the things, that I would actually spend all my time marketing and business and admin and never making any art, which was one model that seemed to be proposed, that I needed to work all the evenings, all the mornings, get up before 10 hours before my children woke up to do all the stuff. Like it was about, what have I got? What can I focus on? What can I prioritize? Like, how can I create that lifestyle? And that's what I wanted. That's what I needed somebody to say, is that actually we can work with whatever personally you want to do and personally you want and need. Previously, prior to that, I thought I want something more, but I didn't want what was being shown to me. I didn't want that 24 hours a day, always working, always crazy, always doing all this, and then you have to do this and this to be successful. I felt like I wanted something, and I wanted my art, and I wanted this. I felt that I could grow, and I felt that it was worth me and more and something. But you were the kind of person that opened that door to go, okay, what do you want it to be like? And then how can we make it work like that? So that's where I feel like that's where anybody can have that kind of, if you've got that feeling, don't feel like you don't, because you don't fit into a format that you've seen before, it's not possible. It's possible because you've got that feeling and you've got that feeling that you want to do it and that energy, and you're going to make it work in your way.
Saskia, I love you. Thank you so much for coming. I really, truly appreciate everything that you've shared and said, and being vulnerable and talking numbers and telling what it's really like behind the scenes. Everyone just sees these pretty pictures of everyone's successful but me, and that's not real. And everyone's confident but me, and everyone has it together, and even the people who are doing great work still have this stuff going on, and that needs to be shared. So I really appreciate you being willing to do that. Thank you so much. If you want to learn more about Saskia, you can go to her website, www.Saskia Saunders. Again, I'll spell it SaskiaSaunders.com, or same at Instagram with an underscore between first and last name. Saskia, I appreciate you coming. Thank you again so much.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for everything.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you haven't yet, be sure to hit subscribe so that you can get new episodes loaded straight onto your phone as soon as they're ready. And if you have a couple extra seconds in your day, would you take the time to rate this show with how many stars you think it deserves? I would be ever so grateful. See you next time.